Welcome back to the Untouchaballs podcast. Caden and Leo here. Caden, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm missing my co-host right now. He's disappeared on me because of a game we'll get to in a couple minutes, and just another bad picks week by him. But and he's returned.
I've returned, Caden. Once again, absolutely diabolical week. I'm just gonna get this out of the way now. Can we get this out of the way now? We'll start off with the Broncos game.
Oh, we're gonna start off with the Broncos.
Okay. That was the first game, wasn't it?
The Patriots-Chargers game.
We're gonna come back to that. I'm gonna get this rant out of the way.
Perfect.
Denver Broncos, Buffalo Bills, not Buffalo Bills, Colorado Buffaloes. What are you guys doing? First of all, CU, which wasn't ready to play against BYU. Credit BYU. BYU came out, stopped the passing game of Colorado, limited the run game, did an absolute amazing game plan. That's enough for that game. The Broncos. On the road in Cincinnati, the chance to clinch the playoffs, and you come out and lay a dud offense. Lay a straight dud. Jaleel McLaughlin running amazing the first quarter and the fourth quarter. In the clutchest moments, Sean Payton turns his back on Jaleel. Doesn't have him in the game. Has slow Estime and Javonte in there. Just struggling to make anything happen, Caden. Find any lanes. Get 0 first downs in overtime. You punt twice in overtime and think you're going to win the football game, Caden. Think you're going to win the football game by punting twice in overtime. Just giving Joe Burrow, please, Joe Burrow, win this game. Not only did the Bengals score a touchdown and blow the game there, Bo Nix comes by, throws a miraculous we'll call it a Hail Mary. I know it's not a Hail Mary. It's a jump ball. Marvin Mims with a fantastic catch. You burn all of that by having the worst, pitiful last 5-minute debacle of coaching between the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter into overtime I've ever seen. I was disgusted. I was disturbed. I was heartbroken, to say the least. To say the least. Now, all that's out of the way. You're Patriots.
Well, no, we still need to talk about your game a little bit more.
Like, what more?
I still want to know why that game went into overtime in the first place.
Why didn't go for 2?
No, that as well. Well, and also, didn't Sean Payton say he was complacent with a tie because it would have got him in just as well?
Yeah, we've talked about that.
I'm more talking about Zach Taylor's decision.
Oh.
Where you have a minute 30 left. The Broncos have one timeout. All you need to do, take a couple knees, kick a sub, like a 20-yard field goal.
You're living in the 2
to win the game, and as time expires. But instead of that, you're like, no, we're going to QB sneak it.
And not only that, a QB sneak, mind you, risk hurting your star quarterback on a QB sneak, a meaningless QB sneak. I don't know.
Because you do that, you score a touchdown, you go up 7, but there's still a minute 30 left, and the Broncos still have a timeout. I don't know what that was.
I mean, there's a reason why the Bengals, Caden, with that roster, with Joe Burrow, haven't lived up to expectations. No. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. At the end of the day, there's a reason why this Bengals team has found ways to lose games because of stuff like that. And who didn't take advantage? The Broncos didn't take advantage. Given the game on a civil platter, threw it away. I'm done.
And
I'm done.
Hey, I want to credit PS2. When he was actually on Jamar Chase, he locked him up.
Yeah, he had one catch on PS2 when he went.
Riley Moss, though. He let my boy T. Higgins absolutely cook.
This is another good point. At what point do you say, okay, we tried rushing Riley Moss back. This is not the game for him to come back. And give Chris Abrams-Drain, who's played phenomenal last week, right? And his week before, he got beat a couple times, but for a rook, for his first start, looked great. To not even give him a chance to come back out on the field when Riley Moss is getting torched, another coaching decision I just don't like there from Denver, Caden.
Yeah, T. Higgins had 11, 133, 3 tutties. At least 2 of the 3 tutties were on Riley Moss. The one in overtime was for sure, and I think the first one was. I think the second one might have been on Jaleel, or not Jaleel, 29. McMillan, thank you. But either way, he was just the whole game. Just when Joe Burrow saw Riley Moss and T. Higgins one-on-one, he's like, oh, I'm going to just throw it over here. Because it was working every single time.
Correct. Now, a game where the offense was working every single time. You're New England Patriots, Caden.
Yeah, they
secured the one.
They got beat down, but I do want to say, last year, thank you, Giants, for beating us and letting us get Drake May. This year, thank you, Giants, for Drew Lock having the best game of his entire NFL career and just giving up the 1 seed for no reason.
And now, Caden, you guys sit in a position where you could trade down 4 spots
And get some
your
capital.
tackle that you need.
Mhm.
And not only that, you're going to have more, like, this is by far the best case scenario for the Patriots, who aren't looking for a quarterback. Just need some help on the line and maybe a receiver.
And definitely receiver.
And probably running back. Can't be coughing up the ball that
No,
much if
can't
you're
be
a bell cow. But
we are going to speak about
let's
that.
speak about it.
So, yeah, 20 minutes or 30 minutes right before the game, Gerard Mayo comes out and is like, yeah, we're benching Ramondre Stevenson today. Antonio Gibson is going to start. He never gave a reason, but it's everyone assumes, and it's got to be right. He has 7 fumbles this year, leading the NFL. So, yeah, it makes sense that you'd bench him. First play of the game on offense, who's in the backfield? Ramondre Stevenson. While he did only end up getting 2 carries the entire game, they let Antonio Gibson just run that game. To say you're going to bench him and then let him start the game just doesn't make any sense.
Makes zero.
Makes 0 sense at all.
Don't like to move either, kid. And you got to be a man of your word. And it sets a poor precedent to your players. Because as Gibson, regardless if he's the one that got the ball carries, it's the fact that you started.
Yeah.
It's significant. It means something. When you're a free agent running back and you want, you're trying to get a contract, you're trying to find a new place to play, you want to be able to say, hey, I can come in as a starter.
Yep.
Not as a, well, I kind of was the starter and we got blown out by 33 points or blah, 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 blah. Just give him the start. Let him have it.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, Gibson, credit to him. He's been good for what we signed for him. It was a 3-year, only $11 million deal. So we saw him for a couple of years just with barely any money.
Yeah.
So he'll be good. He's been great like in that little receiving back role because as we've learned this year, Ramondre doesn't know how to catch a football. But so just props to Tony Gibson for doing what he's done. But yeah, the saying you're going to bench him and then letting him – because they started the game with the football. Or no, technically not. But
3-and-out.
It was a quick 3, or not 3-0, but whatever, a couple drops for the Chargers to get the ball. And then you see Ramondre trot out there. Just doesn't make really any sense right there.
I agree.
But other than that, the game was over. It was, what we expected. Justin Herbert finally had a good game against the Patriots. Ladd McConkey had a great game. He had 8 for 97 and 2 tutties.
Yeah, 30 points in fantasy.
30 points on my head in fantasy. So that wasn't fun. But the only thing, it helps, you're not trying to obviously win. Sucks to see that Christian Gonzalez got concussed on that tackle. So if I had to guess, we just won't play him next week against the Bills.
Doesn't make sense, too.
Doesn't make sense. Just sit him out and then get ready for next year.
For sure.
Our night game, which ended up being just kind of a dud game. It was the Cardinals-Rams. Rams win the game 13-9. We don't get our cover. There just wasn't much offense going this entire game.
Once again, Caden, this was like the Thursday night game where I don't know what else we could talk about. It's just bad offense.
Yeah.
I don't even want to say good defense because it's just missed opportunities, fumbles, turnover, poor execution, just offense shooting themselves in the foot. Especially with, I didn't expect much out of the Cardinals anyway. No. But for the Rams, you still have a lot riding on whether or not you win. You still have a lot riding on if you're going to make a playoff spot, right? And to come out and just play, very disheartening. Not what you want to see going to the playoffs.
No. And another thing that's not nice to see when you're in the fantasy football championship is the Cardinals force-feeding Trey McBride, making sure he finally gets that first touchdown of the season. He had 12 receptions for 125 yards and that tutty. He could have had 2 touchdowns if that game-ending pick didn't bounce off his face mask and he just catches the football.
Caden, we got to grow up and watch Gronk and Kelsey in the 2010s. Kids are going to grow up and they're going to watch Bowers and McBride for the next decade of football. These are and Hawkinson too.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah, I can't even forget
Laporta.
My
boy.
Yeah, there are some young tight ends in this league that are exciting, that know how to get open and know how to make plays in space, use their big bodies. That's the highlight of this game, is that we could look forward to the future of football and how tight ends are continuing to be evolved in the game.
Yeah, Brock Bowers yesterday just set the rookie tight end receiving yards record and the rookie receptions record.
Correct.
So he's having an insane season. If it wasn't for that boy in Washington, which we'll get to in a sec, it's probably his rookie of the year.
Yeah, I think that sucks for Bowers is he gets tossed to third just based on what these two other quarterbacks have done this year. But
it's kind of like that with Laporta last year,
Yes.
who was insane with the Lions, just for C.J. Stroud to have that otherworldly
for sure.
rookie season.
Correct.
Yeah, speaking of who, we'll get there in a second. We're going to talk about that afternoon game first. Where
next day, Sunday's afternoon game.
Sunday's afternoon game where, yes, Vikings did get the victory, did get the cover, but they made it a lot closer than really they should have. 27-25 victory. Sam Darnold masterclass, baby. Career high 371 passing, 3 tutties, and a bad interception, but we don't need to talk about that.
It was, Caden, but credit to you. Vikings were ready. They were locked in. They were prepared from the get-go. They didn't care about Matt LaFleur's record in December. They didn't care about Josh Jacobs. They limited him. I'm going to say limit loosely because that's a beast of a running back.
Mm-hmm.
They did what they did to contain him. They really limited Jordan Love in that passing game, and that's ultimately where they were able to pull out and get a solid victory.
Actually, yeah. So, yeah, speaking of that, so yes, we had our, obviously, follow the social medias. We had our bets for both Saturday and Sunday. And on Saturday, I got my Justin Herbert passing yards in that Patriots game, forgot to mention. You should have had your J.K. Dobbins rushing yards. But because of how big of a blowout it was, they pulled him when he was 4 yards short. That would have hit easily.
Correct.
In the Broncos game, though, I got my overs by the grace of God and overtime.
3 touchdowns.
You got your Bo Nix 3 passing tutties. But
no Broncos money line.
No Broncos money line. And I missed out on the Kyron rushing yards. Because I thought, awful run D in the Cardinals. Rams are going to actually have an offense. But like you were just saying, there was no offense in that game. Sunday, our bets, though, we both had good days here. Jonathan Taylor, I got my rushing yards in that morning slate.
Yep.
This Vikings game that we were just talking about, I had my Vikings money line, which was great. Josh Jacobs, though, is now officially on our no-bet list.
No bet list for Mr. Jacobs. You are sent to bet purgatory with Mr. Cortland.
And Mr. Tyler Lockett.
And Mr. Tyler Lockett. I feel like we're missing one more.
Really?
My bet. I think there's an NBA guy. I want to say it's Jamal Murray. I think Jamal Murray's on the no-bet list. Jamal Murray, you are on the no-bet list as well. Those 4 guys, you are on the no-bet list.
Because, last week Josh Jacobs looking great.
Oh, it was Vele, actually.
Oh,
Vele, you're on the no-bet list, too.
Yeah, because, last week Josh Jacobs would have hit both our bets really easily.
Yes, he would.
Then they pull him in the blowout. Then this week, Mex has him 80-plus rush yards. He's at 69. Looking like he's going to get that pretty easily. Then those couple runs they had late in the fourth, and they were scoring their touchdowns. We're once again going to the backup running backs. Just weird by Josh Jacobs.
In the fantasy football championships, the clutchest moments, and Matt LaFleur says, "No, Jacobs, don't run our team to a victory. We're not going to put you on and ride you in December." Don't like that decision, but credit the Vikings.
Credit the Vikings, good win, and now they will not. I mean, no matter what happens really in this Lions game, that we won't actually be able to recap because our boy over here, Max, will be covering the CU basketball game tonight.
Yeah, won't be here for the Monday night. So you guys are seeing this Tuesday morning. It is.
You'll know what happens. We haven't.
You'll know what
yet.
happens. We don't. Right?
But either way, they will be fighting for that 1 seed next week,
Correct.
which would be an electric football game. It was announced last night that it will be on Sunday Night Football.
Flexed, yes.
So that'll be a great game.
Most definitely.
But yes, going to our Sunday night game here between the Commanders and the Falcons, where ended up being a really good game. Went to overtime. The Commanders win 30-24.
Correct. Yeah, Caden, this was a game, very similar to what I expected. I thought this was going to be a playoff-type game. Both young quarterbacks played very well, had very impressive plays to each of them. Of course, Daniels outgunned Penix.
Yep.
But you can't blame the guy. Daniels had the more starts. He's been here, done that.
And he is the rookie of the year.
And he's the rookie of the year. Talk about a quarterback. I've been on this Jane Daniels coming in like heavy. I cannot lie and acted like I thought he was going to be this fantastic as a rookie. This is insane. I thought this is what we would see looking in his second, third years after a season under his belt. To come in as a rookie and winning games, clutch games, in overtime, calm, cool, collective. There was so much to like about this young Jaden Daniels and what they were building in Washington.
Yeah, I mean, first though, I do want to, because we were just talking about the bets.
Sure.
I had Bijan 90-plus rushing yards. He finished at 90 on the dot. So we barely got that. He also put in 2 scores, which is huge for the fantasy football championships.
Yes, it is.
Your Drake London receptions hit with ease.
Oh, of course.
7 for 106. But I mean, Penix,
Get his flashes.
He showed some flashes. He also missed, it seemed like, a good bit of open throws. I did say last week he was going to throw a pick. First drive of the game, throws it right to the defender. But then, their defense was really holding strong against this Commanders offense. But then it became really the Jaden Daniels run game is really what broke this open. 16 carries for 127 yards for Jaden Daniels in this game.
All of a sudden, this Jaden Daniels run game is starting to pick up. And I think the Commanders, too, are starting to realize, come playoff time, we need a power back. It might just have to be Jaden Daniels. It's going to be the Jaden Daniels show. He's going to have to do it all. He's going to run. He's going to pass. He's going to catch maybe. Who knows?
Also, though, but speaking of that overtime touchdown, what a catch by Zach Ertz.
Yeah.
He's just a bullet seed past defender. Zach Ertz, little dive-in. That was just beautiful football right there.
We were talking about the new generation tight ends. On Saturday, we were actually talking about Zach Ertz. Shout out Zach Ertz.
I want to
give him his flowers.
He's just still going strong.
He's still going strong. Made a clutch play in that championship run for the Eagles with a touchdown catch. He just shows up in big moments. Shout out Zach Ertz.
Shout out Zach Ertz. Yeah, he finally was able to leave the Cardinals, and they started playing really good again.
Yeah.
Just seemed like, him and the Cardinals weren't the greatest fit by any means.
It wasn't, for whatever reason, kid. But now, NFL is done for.
Yes, it is.
We have this weekend, it's multiple days of college football.
So, there'll be one game today as you're seeing it, and then the other 3 are on New Year's Day. Round 2, college football playoffs, baby.
Good. Now, these matchups, a lot better than last week's, at least on paper. What do we got, Caden?
So, starting us off, which is on New Year's Eve night, where it's the Fiesta Bowl between the Boise State Broncos and the Penn State Nittany Lions, where Penn State's an 11.5-point favorite.
11.5 is just disgusting out of the gate. No respect to Ashton Jeanty, the second for the Heisman voting. No respect to this Boise State team, Caden, who had to claw and fight their right to be number 3. Disrespected all year long, right? To come out and be an 11.5, I think that's just criminal. Regardless of how good this Penn State team has been playing, because they have been playing good with their run game. But we're going to say it again. Drew Aller
sucks.
Likes to give the ball away. And I think if this Boise State defense can win the turnover battle for them, Boise State stays clean. You get a lead. You stay close with that run game in Jeanty. This could become anyone's ball game, kid.
Yep.
Running the ball in the cold months favors the running the ball team.
It isn't Glendale, though.
It isn't Glendale. But still, the team that's able to control the time of possession, limit the possessions, limit the carries that Drew Aller and that Penn State offense is going to be able to have, control the time, get a turnover, I think they can cover 11.5 easy.
Yeah, I think Michael Madsen, the Boise State quarterback, is probably just as bad as good as Drew Aller.
Okay, that I disagree with.
They're both nothing special. They can make an occasional throw here or there. This game will come down to the trenches between Nicholas Singleton and Ashton Jeanty, who are both really good running backs. You saw what Nicholas Singleton was able to do against SMU last week. You've seen, obviously, what Ashton Jeanty's been able to do all season.
Correct.
And but we've also seen what Penn State's defense has been able to do. They were able to just go after Kevin Jennings last week, make him throw those 2 early pick sixes. He ended up throwing those 3 picks. And that's what set that game into that blowout.
Yes, it did.
If they really need to be able to like you're saying, limit these turnovers, make it so Michael Madsen is able to find his open targets, not get forced into any turnovers, ride on Ashton Jeanty. Yes. And you can definitely come in here and cover it because the Penn State offense obviously can't score. They have all these high-level players who are able to put up a lot of points. This should, I'd say, probably be a pretty high-scoring football game. But also, you know what happens when Boise State plays in the Fiesta Bowl, right?
Caden, no.
Come on, you know what happens when Boise State plays in the Fiesta Bowl. Statue of Liberty. Statue of Liberty, baby.
That's what you want, Caden. That's your greatest
point. A crazy upset victory is what I'm talking about. Yep. And I would love to see it tonight as you guys are watching this. I don't know exactly if they'll win this game, but 11.5 is too high of a damn line. It's just too high of a line. Boise State is too good of a football team to be disrespected like this.
I agree.
They're going
to State minus 9.5 or plus 9.5.
Plus 11.5. Oh, plus 10.5.
That's an ultimate spread.
Because
catch that.
Drew Aller I'm going to say this. He's going to throw a pick in this game. And they're going to limit. Michael Madsen's not going to. He's going to do his best not to have any turnover. He can do his best. But it's going to come down to Nicholas Singleton, Ashton Jeanty, Give me Ashton Jeanty and these Boise State Broncos to win this and cover the. I mean, not win the game, but cover the spread.
I was like, win is crazy.
Cover the spread.
Okay, there we go.
Let's get to our New Year's games, though, where it'll be just like the last week. We have an 11 a.m., like a 3 p.m., and then the night game. Correct. Our 11 a.m. game is between my Texas Longhorns and the Arizona State Sun Devils in the Peach Bowl in Atlanta, Georgia, where Texas is a 12.5-point favorite.
Again, with these lines, Caden, no love. No love to the other teams. I don't know how Arizona State could have the season they've had with Bo Scatabo running the way he's had, over 2,000 all-purpose yards for Bo Scatabo. And 12.5 is the line. Hammer ASU cover, right? Hammer ASU
Cam
cover.
Scatabo.
Did I say Bo?
Yeah.
Cam.
Sorry.
Cam
Scatabo.
Cam
2,000 all-purpose yards.
And Cam, either way, and you come out with the 12.5-point line, I think you should hammer the ASU line. I think ASU is going to give Texas a serious run for their money. I think Texas knows how to choke in big games too, Kate.
They definitely do.
Out of those all mixed in, regardless, I don't know if Arizona State's going to win. I think they have a lot better shot than the odds and people are telling them to. I think Arizona State has been disrespected nationally for too long. But this Texas team is legit with their run game, with that offense. We've talked about it all year long. They've been there. They're the more experienced team, Caden. You have all the chips stacked in your favor. Don't blow it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would say probably, though, Boise State has a better chance to win than Arizona State just because of how little faith I have in Penn State. But
that's how little faith I have in Texas.
That is true. And they've shown that you shouldn't have much faith in them. But, I mean, yeah, limiting the run game is going to be their problem because that's really how Arizona State is able to move down the field and score. And when they're running the ball like that, they're able to limit time of possession and just keep Texas offense off the field. What's going to need to happen is you need big games out of Quintrayvon Weiser and Jaden Blue out of the backfield. You need them to be good. And you need Quinn to just not throw it to the other team. If Quinn just doesn't throw it to the other team, this should be a clean, concise victory for the Longhorns. 12.5 is a lot of points, though. I think ASU will be able to put up some points in this game. And I don't think ASU's defense is really that good, though. So Texas will also. This is a game I would probably, more than the Penn State game, would be looking at the overs. I think this really could be a high-scoring football game.
I think so.
But, yeah, I'm going to ride with you on this one, ASU plus the 12.5, because I think just too big of a line for what we think this game will be.
So big. And maybe the bettors get it right and we see 2 blowouts.
Yeah.
And then we can come bite our tongue next week. But for now, ride with the underdogs.
Hey, another game where might be riding with the underdog again. Ohio State and Oregon in the Rose Bowl. In that beautiful stadium in Pasadena, California, where Ohio State is a 2.5-point favorite.
They are, Caden, and they are for a reason. They lost ugly to Michigan.
Yep.
And that team has turned around possessed. They've turned around with a grip on what needs to be accomplished for their goal. And I like the way they're playing. I know this Ducks team, how good they are. We've watched them all season.
Yep.
We know what the Ducks possess. I think the Ducks are going to duck. Like Texas. These are teams where, they played good all year. Yeah, they should win on paper. But they find ways to lose, along with the other team we're going to talk about. But I am riding with Ohio State to win and get this cover. I think that they're going to be more physical. I think on defense, they're going to get after Oregon. And I think that's going to be the difference in this game. But I will say, this is, I think, going to be the best game of all the games this weekend.
I would probably agree. We said that about the Ohio State game last week, though, and it was a straight blowout.
I know we did,
but I agree with you. No, I 100% agree with you here. I think this should be the best game. I have a lot more faith in Dan Lanning than I do Ryan Day.
Yeah, you do.
Will Howard has had his ups and downs. Dylan Gabriel just seems like a more consistent type of quarterback in this matchup. But like you're saying, they lose that game to Michigan, and they come out against Tennessee, just guns blazing, scoring at ease, playing great defense. I'm scared for Oregon in this one. I am going to ride with them. You're going to
ride with them, though.
I like Oregon in this matchup as I just think what we've seen out of them this year is better than what we've seen out of Ohio State. Right. They have the playmakers. Both teams obviously have the playmakers on offense. I think I have a little more faith in this Ducks defense to be able to shut down the Ohio State offense than I do in the Ohio State defense.
All right, kid.
Our final game, though, is between the Notre Dame Fighting Irish and the Georgia Bulldogs in the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans, where Gunnar Stockton will be leading the helm for Georgia. as a 1-point favorite.
Having your backup quarterback sucks if you're Georgia. But that being said, I don't think Carson Beck played all too much better this season.
That is very true.
The Stockton can come in. I think this is going to be a defensive battle. Obviously, smash the unders, right? I think Georgia ekes out a solid 13-10 victory, pulls out the dub, because they're going to have to rely so much on the run game, Georgia. And we know how successful this Notre Dame team is when they could focus in to just stopping the run.
Yep.
This Notre Dame team is built to stop the run, get after you, and play with the lead. They do it better than a lot of teams in college football, Caden. Getting the lead and holding on to it and just riding at your opponent, right? They get 2 touchdowns ahead of you, and it's see you later. It's good night. Even if they don't score anything on offense, they'll drag out and hold on to that lead because their defense is so dominant. Especially, they're great in the secondary as well. That being said, Georgia knows this. Kirby Smart knows this. They have the experience. They have the better coaching. And with just 1 point as your line, you're basically calling it a money line.
It's a pick 'em, basically, yeah.
Right? Give me Georgia. They've been there. They've done that. They're going to get the victory.
Yes, Kirby Smart is probably, the best coach in college football after the retirement of Nick Saban.
Oh, yeah.
And he's got all this experience. A lot of this team has the experience as well. Trevor Etienne is one of these premier backs in college football right now. He's really good. But then on this Notre Dame side, you do have Riley Leonard, who's a seasoned vet in the quarterback position. He's able to be mobile, find his open targets. He's looked good, especially after he had that good year at Duke last year. He was able to transfer to Notre Dame and has really just shot up.
He's elevated.
He's elevated his game a lot. And then, though, you have Julian Love in that backfield, who has been disgusting for the Notre Dame offense this year. I probably will agree with you. The unders, it should not, I don't think, be that high scoring again. 2 good defenses, especially Georgia's. They have an otherworldly type of defense here. I just don't have faith in Gunnar Stockton. We saw in that Texas game when he came in, he led that 1 touchdown drive. And other than that, they didn't really do much offensively. They got a couple field goals, and then in that overtime drive, it was Trevor Etienne's smash mouth football that really got them the win.
But also, you got to think, now he's had time to settle in and actually get the reps as the first team.
And which is really huge for him.
It is.
I just think having more, though, you still have all your stars here with Notre Dame. You're more cohesive at having everyone been here since the start. I'm putting, as much as I probably shouldn't, because they choke every year in the playoffs, I'm putting my money on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish to come in and win this football game.
Well, Caden, one thing's for sure.
They have the easier side of the bracket.
They got the easier side of the bracket. And this is going to be an exciting day of college football New Year's Day. Hopefully. I don't know if the table's in frame, but there's a wood table. I'm knocking on it. There you go.
Hopefully it's better than the first weekend that was all blowouts.
100%. Caden, are there any final thoughts, comments, questions, or concerns for you before we wrap up?
Yes, make sure you guys like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications so you never miss an upload. Share this with your friends, family, strangers, neighbors, anyone like that. And yeah, we have a website up that we've been mentioning the last couple episodes. It's theuntouchaballs.wordpress.com. Check it out if you want to see more in-depth stuff of any of our bets, more stuff from the podcast, or just other sports news in general. Make sure you check that out.
Most definitely. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you all next time.